county manager. We have the acting county attorney on the line, as well as the GMs. And I am just waiting on it to say YouTube is live, and we can begin. All right, so we are now live on YouTube. Chair Howerton, you can begin the meeting. I would like to just remind everyone to please keep your mics muted at all times and keep your cameras off until you are being spoken to by a commissioner or you are presenting an item. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. And good evening, commissioners, staff, and citizens. Today is May 10th, 2021. It's our Board of County Commissioners meeting. And I will read the public charge. The Board of Commissioners asks its members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner, both with the board and fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chair will ask the offending person to leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should decorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. And commissioners, one of the things that I keep forgetting to do is have us all mute our phones. And that's starting with me, to mute our phones. So thank you. And I will repeat the public charge along with you. You'll join me. So I pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we go ahead with agenda adjustments, I just want to say happy belated to all mothers. We just had our Mother's celebration on Sunday, and we didn't have an opportunity to say Happy Mother's Day to everyone. So just a belated one. So commissioners, at this time, are there any agenda adjustments? Commissioner Alum.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. I don't have an agenda adjustment for this meeting, but just per the conversations you and I have had, just to acknowledge that there were conversations about adjusting the agenda, but to get consensus amongst the board that instead of adding items onto the agenda tonight, that we have a meeting on Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any others?
Has that been established and firmly set, that meeting for Thursday?
The clerk is working on that. I know that it's a holiday for Commissioner Alum, and I really hate for her to sacrifice her holiday and I just sent an email that I'm perfectly fine with doing it on Friday if the rest of the board is okay with that.
I'm comfortable with it staying on Thursday, especially because I think I saw Monica. Well, I'll let Monica speak.
Commissioners, if I could add, the meeting has been scheduled. The board will meet for a special session on Thursday, the 13th at 2 p.m. and it has been confirmed.
That's fine. Thank you. Okay. All right. Announcements. Our clerk, Monica Toomer, will now read the announcements.
Good evening, commissioners, county staff, and citizens. I will now read the announcements for Monday, May 10th. The first announcement, Durham County Public Health Vaccination Clinic update. Beginning Monday, May 4th, the DPAC, Department of Public Health COVID-19 Vaccination Clinic will offer walk-in vaccinations for first and second doses 5 days a week. For additional information, you can visit www.dconc.gov. Food for Durham. Food for Durham is here and is now accepting donations to benefit Durham County food pantries and other food distribution organizations. Food for Durham is a new community-led initiative to help our incredible local food and hunger relief nonprofits secure food, equipment, and other essentials so that they can keep supporting the community in this time of increased need. To learn more, visit the Food for Durham website at www.unitedwaytriangle.org/Food for Durham, or follow Food for Durham on social media using the hashtag food4Durham. A real reminder, beginning May 3rd, 2023, this date has been pushed back. Federal agencies will enforce the Real ID Act, which requires a real ID, U.S. passport, or other federally approved identification to board commercial flights or enter secure federal buildings. For more information about the Real ID, please visit www.ncdot.gov. Planning agency seeks comment on changes to bicycle, pedestrian, and other transportation projects in long-term plan. If you are interested in the future highway, bicycle, multi-use paths, and transit projects for our region, you can submit feedback by May 25th, 2021 on a proposed amendment to the long-range transportation plan. Please visit www.dchcmpo.org to submit your comments online, or you can submit comments via email at andrew.henry@durhamnc.gov. Lastly, Durham Emergency Rental Assistance Program, ERAP. The Durham County Department of Social Services apologizes for the delay in the launch of the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. There was a technical glitch today on the launch of the Durham ERAP.DCONC.gov website. We now have a workaround link that clients can go to and fill out their rental assistance applications. This link is DCOprod.servicenowservices.com. The link can be found directly on the county's main website, which is dconc.gov, on the slider head for the Durham ERAP program. We apologize for the delay and technical difficulty, but are now ready to receive rental assistance applications. Further updates will be forthcoming as we continue to address challenges and issues that may arise. We also have our DSS Director, Ben Rose, who is on the line that would like to share additional information regarding the Durham Emergency Rental Assistance Program.
Thank you, Ms. Toomer, and good evening, Board of Commissioners. First
Good evening,
off,
Ben.
I want to just sincerely apologize to the residents of Durham County for this issue with the delay of our emergency rental assistance program. This was not how this day was planned to go, and we really regret that this happened. We are programmatically ready for this program, and we understand that, you know, there's a lot of people that were probably frustrated today, and there's a lot of people that are anxious to get applications in, and that's why we really regret that this happened. But like I said, programmatically, we are ready to do this program. Our staff are ready. They're trained. We have everything in line. And we, unfortunately, with a program this size, we had to start to rely on some IT and software needs. And that's where we had our problems. These were technical issues that we just could not overcome quickly enough. But we have developed this workaround. And what I would really recommend, because I'm not even sure that website was right, Monica, I think there's the workaround website has a CARES at the end of it. I think I sent you an updated one. But the best thing for residents to do right now is just to go to deconc.gov, the main website. And on those sliders that's slider number 2, and they can click there and they can go ahead and start to apply for these funds. They can do this tonight if they want to. The process, you know, it will take a little bit of time to get the application in and get all the documents loaded up, but we have got a workaround now for this program so that we can now start to take applications. The original website, we do plan to make that available in the next day or two. That's still the plan, that original URL, but that was part of our problem, our technical problems today, is that URL was broke. So we really regret this, but we are anxious, just as anxious as everyone else, to get this program up and going. And we hope to, you know, get this rollout happening this week and start to receive applications and disperse some of these funds. So we do apologize, but we thank you for sharing this information with the community. And we're going to be doing more sharing of information and regular updates on our social media. So please follow Durham County Social Services on Twitter or Facebook to get additional information. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben. Thank you. I know you guys are working hard to make this work for our citizens. So thanks a bunch.
Definitely.
Commissioners, I just have one more acknowledgement before we move on to our minutes. This month continues to be appreciation for our nurses, and I just want to acknowledge them. So reading something says there's an alarming rate of burnout among our healthcare workers. And so healthcare workers are undoubtedly the backbone of our country as they fiercely accept the dangers of unknown diseases and works toward saving the lives of hundreds of unknown diseases. Oh, I'm reading that twice, I'm sorry. Saving the lives of hundreds. The job of a nurse is especially incredibly tough during this era of pandemics. Every life is precious to them, and they are never off duty from taking care of the sick and affected. Their otherworldliness, dedication calls for much respect and appreciation throughout the community. It is time we acknowledge the heroes of our community and extend our note of gratitude to them. Thank them for their creative work. So thanks to the nurses, because you make our lives happier and healthier in this world. So thank you to all of our nurses in our healthcare. You have a comment, Commissioner Burns?
Yes, ma'am. I'm so happy that you threw out the one about our nurses, as well as the one last week where it was teacher appreciation. But what I wanted to do was keep a promise that I made to Janine on this morning. I reached out to Janine because I knew that we were launching our rental assistance program today, and I said, "What time does it launch? Are you ready?" I want to state publicly for the record, and so that Ben Rose can also hear this, as well as Joanne Pierce. Janine, for over a year, has been a champion of change when it comes to developing these programs, to getting these applications submitted. She proactively reached out to people at the state level when she even thought that they were going to get their own tranche of money. She has been proactive in actually reaching out to get the second application for ERAP money. That first tranche, on the day of the application, I was able to get everything. I was able to reach out to her and Ben and the manager. And I just want folks to know that this computer glitch, even though Ben has said it, I promised Janine I would do this. In no way is this indicative of the fact that she has built a beautiful, equitable program. And I can personally speak that when it came to working with counties in the whole program, Durham was probably the easiest county to work with, and they got their applications out of the door faster than anybody else. So I wish Ben and Janine and the whole team good luck and Godspeed, and thank you for your sacrifice today.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Jacobs.
Thank you. And I just want to echo what Commissioner Burns has just said, that this has been a tough day for everybody. So many people were looking forward to this launch. And as we know, unfortunately, technology doesn't always go the way that we expect. I know that everybody is working round the clock to address it, that we have a workaround right now. And I also just want to recognize all of the different partnerships that have gone into creating this new website, that the goal is to make it user-friendly for everybody. And so we will get there. We just ask people to be patient. And I also want to acknowledge Ben, who's dealing with some other personal challenges right now, and with his mom. So I just want to say that it's been a double whammy for you, Ben, and I want to acknowledge that as well. So again, we hope the community will be patient with us, and also we have some new opportunities that DSS staff just found out about, that we, as Commissioner Burns said, we're trying to get in line for sure some new opportunities for our community. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobs.
Any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Long?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for all the announcements we've had. I had an additional announcement. It's not necessarily Durham related, but it's just an announcement I wanted to share in case there are community members who may be able and willing to support. As everyone knows, the COVID crisis in India has been very detrimental, and I actually just lost an aunt on Sunday, Mother's Day, from COVID, and her husband and son are still in the ICU. If there's anyone who is willing and looking for ways to support the crisis in India right now, you can go to indiacovidmutualaid.carrd.co, and I'll share that with our clerk as well if she wants to share that on our website. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have a lot to be thankful for, and I've received several calls also today about the website, and we know that our citizens are ready to be on that website, and we just know that our staff is working really, really hard to make that happen as soon as possible. So the next item, commissioners, is our minutes. The board has before us April 5th work session and April the 12th, our regular session, regular minutes for approval. Do we have any comments or edits?
Madam Chair, I would move approval, and really do want to applaud our staff. They're doing a great job with minutes. Minutes are hard to get right. You know, boards usually complain there's too much information, there's not enough information. I think you guys are really striking the right balance. Wanted to let you know that.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Need a second?
Seconded.
Commissioner Alum. Second by Commissioner Alum. The clerk will now take a verbal vote.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
and Chair Howerton.
Aye, passes 5-0. Thank you. The next item is ceremonial items, and we have 5 ceremonial items on this agenda tonight. The first one is 210237, a proclamation on Children's Mental Health Awareness Month 2021. The board is requested to proclaim May 2021 as Children's Mental Health Awareness Month. The Children's Mental Health Proclamation's purpose and goals are threaded throughout Durham County strategic plan, and it speaks to every social determinant of health. We have Tika Dempson on the line to accept the proclamation, and I will ask Commissioner Burns to read at this time.
Okay. Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation, Children's Mental Health Awareness Month 2021. Whereas addressing the complex behavior and mental health needs of our children, youth, and families is fundamental to the future of Durham and North Carolina, and whereas the leadership in Durham, North Carolina recognizes that addressing the complex mental health needs and treatment be on par with medical needs and treatment, and addressing the social, emotional development are essential early foundations to ensure the best outcomes for our children's well-being. And whereas the United States Department of Health and Human Services has identified that 1 out of 5 of our state's 2.2 million children live with a mental health condition. And the North Carolina Center for State Health Statistics data report that suicide is the second leading cause of death for children ages 10 to 17 in our states. Families shall not feel stigma and shame to seek treatment for their children and youth and be able to discuss openly their need for help without public retribution. And whereas research shows it is important to seek help early and get effective treatment for trauma, mental health challenges, and substance use disorders among children and adolescents, and provide them quality opportunities to live resilient, healthy, and productive lives. And whereas available school-based mental health programs and positive behavior interventions and support should be considered as best practices and be encouraged to be practiced in every Durham, North Carolina public school. Whereas children are recognized for having unique needs for recovery of mental health, emotional, behavioral, and substance use issues, and not being combined with the adult mental health population for treatment. And whereas Durham children understand with mental health challenges and their families benefit from access to timely services, supports, and crisis response systems, and that they are family-driven, youth-guided, and culturally appropriate. They also benefit from the integrated behavioral health and the health system, education, child welfare, and juvenile justice systems. And whereas the Durham County Commissioners, along with the state of North Carolina, is demonstrating its commitment to children's mental health through all child, youth, adult serving systems to support children's emotional resilience and well-being and behavioral health issues, join to recognize Children's Mental Health Awareness Month. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim May 2021 as Children's Mental Health Awareness Month in Durham County and commend its observance to our citizens this 10th day of May 2021.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. So we want to thank Tika. I know you're there someplace.
Hi, I am. Hi, everyone.
Oh, there.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. I appreciate it. And this year I usually give a speech, but I am so excited to have my CEO here. And so instead of hearing me talk, I would really love and be honored if you would hear from someone who has supported me ever since you guys have put this role in place. And I'm truly grateful for all of your support. Mr. Robinson.
Oh, thank you, Tika, for the kind words. And for those that know Tika, know she's much better equipped. We couldn't ask for a better champion for advocating for children and family services. So thank you, Tika. I'll try and do it justice. Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and Mr. Manager.
Good evening, Rob. Good to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to see you. Thank you for having me. We are certainly grateful for this board's ongoing recognition of the importance of children's mental health and the positive impact that each child's mental health has on their overall health and development and quality of life. Accordingly, I'd like to encourage all Durham County citizens to follow Alliance Health on Facebook and Twitter all month long as we highlight community activities and other important information about Mental Health Month. Last week, we hosted a Lunch and Learn series on our recovery-oriented system of care, which we shared information on the importance of community in helping individuals be successful and basic tools needed to support people with the dignity and respect they deserve. I'd also like to call your attention to an interactive virtual holistic health summit that we'll be hosting tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. featuring Alliance's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Mehul Mankad, as the keynote speaker. If you haven't met Dr. Mankad, he is quite a speaker and extremely knowledgeable on the subject. There'll also be other distinguished panel of experts speaking to the correlations between mental and physical health and the importance of whole person care. A link to register for this free event can be found on the Alliance website as well as our Facebook page. So you got to sign up for our Facebook page and you'll get the link. Finally, we are pleased to continue the cherished tradition started here in Durham County with our Making a Difference Award presentation. This year's awards recognize the heroic efforts of our local health departments and hospitals across our region in supporting our citizens during COVID. We will be virtual again this year, and I will share dates and times soon once they are nailed down. Next year, for sure, we look forward to resuming our Making a Difference breakfast live here in Durham. So again, thank you for this proclamation and for your continued support of our work to ensure that every Durham County young person has an opportunity to live their fullest, most satisfying lives. Really appreciate all of you. You guys have been tremendous support and advocates. You guys, I hear about all things happening around the state, and nobody really does it better in Durham in supporting people with the greatest needs. So I genuinely, absolutely mean it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ron. We appreciate you being here and over the years, the work that you continue to do. And I know that Commissioner Carter serves on your board. So Commissioner Carter, would you have some comments?
Rob did a fantastic job of highlighting the importance of children's mental health and how intricately linked it is to physical health and every other metric of well-being, frankly, in our children's lives. And it's not just about the children, it's about the families. We always have to think in a multi-generational way. I know Tika's just the master of that and works amazingly well with our families and our children. And I'm just so grateful that we have her. I met her when I was a newbie on the school board, and I learned so much from Tika. And we're lucky that we have her supporting our children's mental health and their families. And it's my on the Alliance board. I really admire the work that these people are all doing.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Other commissioners? Commissioner Jacobs?
Well, thank you, Tika, and thank you, Rob. And I think the whole issue of children and teenage mental health is something that's weighing on all of our minds with the pandemic. We've all seen the data and the research about how our children and our young people have really been disparately impacted by the social isolation and of the pandemic. So thinking about the resources that we need to have and that we do have, I was in a Stepping Up initiative meeting today, Rob, and there was discussion about the new regional psychiatric facility for children and youth. And maybe you could just talk a little bit about that.
Commissioner Jacobs, are you talking about the one that we're advocating for, or the one that I'm so sorry, I'm not familiar with.
Okay, well, maybe I misunderstood. I thought we were going to get the one that we were advocating for. Maybe we're not.
Fighting hard for a regional
residential
program for kids. It's different than anything we have in the state. It's going to be, we want it to be state of the art. It's going to be about reunifying kids back with their families. It's not a destination. It's not a place where kids go and stay and live. It's all about putting them in a facility and providing them treatment with the family to get them back at home where kids do better.
And that's something we really need. It's a gap in our system right now. So,
right. Commissioner Jacobs, I'm sorry. Maybe you're talking about the child crisis facility.
Yes, that's the one.
We do have a child crisis facility. It's going to be regional. Yeah. It's going to be 16 beds. It's going to be state of the art. We are trying to get through the construction piece. Like I guess everyone else in the country, there's a supply problem that's delaying us, but we hope to get that open sometime this late summer. You will all get invites once that's open, and you can see what's going to be available. It really is going to be a cool project for kids that are experiencing crisis. No more
Thank you.
centers, no more unnecessary ED visits.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Other comments from commissioners? Okay, thank you so much, Rob. And Tika, it's always a pleasure to see you and the message that you both bring to us and the service that you provide for our community and especially to our young ones. So thank you. And we look forward to this new facility. Okay. All right, the next proclamation is Durham County Corporate Extension. The board is requested to proclaim May 24th through the 28th, 2021. There's Durham County Cooperative Extension Week. During this week, Cooperative Extension will celebrate its annual report to the community with a host of events. And I will ask Commissioner Jacobs to read the proclamation and ask Donna Reward, Durham County Cooperative Extension Director, to share a few words afterward.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. And thank you, Donna, and everyone from Cooperative Extension for being here. Whereas North Carolina Cooperative Extension, Durham County Center creates opportunities for lifelong learning and connects residents with resources that help improve quality of life. And whereas the mission of Cooperative Extension is to partner with communities to deliver research-based education and technology that enrich the lives, land, and economy of North Carolinians. And whereas as a partnership of NC State University and North Carolina A&T University with Durham County government, Durham County Cooperative Extension serves the Durham community through the Durham County Strategic Plan and its 5 goal areas. And whereas Durham County Cooperative Extension offers Durham County residents programs in education, in agriculture, family and consumer science, 4-H youth development, and parent and family advocacy, as well as through our Kids Voting Durham and Welcome Baby programs at the County Agricultural Building, at the Briggs Avenue Community Garden, and in the community. And whereas during the week of May 24th through 28th, 2021, Durham County Cooperative Extension will be celebrating its annual report to the community with events that feature the accomplishments of its programs from the past year. Now, therefore, be resolved, I, Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do proclaim May 24th through 28th, 2021 as Cooperative Extension Week. So thank you so much, Donna and Krista Gibson, for being with us as well. And would love to hear you talk about all of the events that you have planned for this week.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobs. Thanks to all of you. We are very grateful for the continued support and partnership of Durham County with Cooperative Extension. This has been a trying last year for a lot of us for any number of reasons. Our title of our annual report to the report to the community is A Season to Overcome this year. And we look forward to sharing with the community how we've changed and grown along with the community over this last year, whether it was working with our Welcome Baby program to distribute over 250,000 diapers, or reaching over 100,000 people with gardening information through new virtual avenues. It's been a remarkable a year filled with a lot of sorrow, but also a lot of joy and a lot of opportunity to forge new relationships and make new connections with residents in really innovative and exciting ways. One of the ways we're doing that is by doing our report to community for the second year in a row in a virtual space. And there's a little bit of a live component. I have a little hint behind me on that. Chris is going to give a quick highlight of the things that we have in store that week.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you to all of the commissioners for having us here tonight. We are really excited about these events that are going to happen in the week of the 24th of May. We are kicking off the week with a nice webinar with everyone on our team going to share not only what we accomplished in the year just passed, but ways that the community can get involved in each of our programs. The second day, we will be moving into another really fun activity where everyone will have the opportunity to pick up food if you'd like to, and then use that food to cook along with our amazing chef and food and consumer sciences agent, Sherilyn Berry, through a webinar that she's going to be holding that evening. And then we will have on the 26th, a program with our Welcome Baby team, where they will be teaching folks how to select a safe car seat. And everyone who participates in that will be entered into a chance to win a free car seat. And then our final event of the week is what we're calling a Season to Grow. That is a collaboration between our Briggs Avenue Community Garden and our agriculture programs. Folks can sign up for socially distanced tours of the garden. We're going to have a lot of fun tables there with lots of different kinds of activities that folks can learn and participate with our Extension Master Gardener volunteers of Durham County, with our ag agents, and of course with Sherilyn Berry, our Family and Consumer Sciences agent who runs our Briggs Avenue Garden. And closest to my heart, because it's my program, I think you've all been invited to also participate in kind of a virtual social media event that we're doing, which is to share your wishes for Durham. And so we also will have that going on throughout the week on social media. You can see videos, pictures of different folks' wish for Durham. And so I hope that you will join us in just celebrating Durham County Cooperative Extension, the Durham community, and all the amazing things that are going on. And if you'd like to learn more, you can go to the Durham County Cooperative Extension website. And this news article is at the top of the page, so you should be able to find it there. Thank you all.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Any other comments by commissioners? Well, I just want to say thank you. Commissioner Carter, go ahead, and I'll.
Well, thank you, Chair Jacobs. I don't mind waiting for you if you'd like to go. But I'll go. I just wanted to say how much I always enjoy whatever program I attend that the Cooperative Extension is connected to, whether it be, I guess the most recent ones I've attended have been the ones around food security. The bi-monthly meetings that they have on those have been fantastic. Recently, I attended the agriculture open house and learned about our 3 agriculture agents and the ways in which they support our community members in different ways. My very first volunteerism in Durham was as a Welcome Baby volunteer. I don't think Welcome Baby was connected to the Cooperative Extension back then, 30 years ago or more, but it's still, somehow connected to my warm heart for Cooperative Extension. And just want to thank you all for the great work that you do. And I'm glad to be understanding what the Cooperative Extension is better, and better every year. And I know that your program in a couple of weeks is really going to help with that. So encourage everyone to attend.
Okay, any other comments? Commissioner Jacobs.
Well, I just want to say that I so appreciate everything that Cooperative Extension does, and that it's been really poignant during the pandemic, because Cooperative Extension is about promoting resiliency and sustainability and supporting families and people to take care of themselves. And I really appreciate that, especially so many people have gotten into gardening during the pandemic, and the Briggs Community Garden. I love the last newsletter where you focus on a couple that got engaged at the community garden, which is just amazing that it's such a special place for people that they would choose to actually become engaged there. And I'd also want to just also acknowledge the role that you all have played with our food security efforts during the pandemic as well. And so again, thank you all so much.
Yes, and just to end this conversation, thank you again to all of the work that you do, Donna, and your team. Talking about gardening, you even have me planting tomatoes and cabbage on my patio. Now, I come from farms, so I know farm life and I know all of that. And then on Hoover Road, I was over there this weekend where the community on Hoover Road is planting garden. So it seems it's something that a lot of us are getting into. So thank you for the work that you're doing. We appreciate your service.
And the tree sale, Donna. Thanks for the tree sale.
Oh, you're welcome. What did you get?
Huh? I'll send you a picture. It looks like it's done, so I might be back.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right, commissioners, let's see. The next item, another proclamation on Older Americans Month. The board is requested to proclaim May 2021 as Older Americans Month in Durham County. And we have Ben Rose, DSS Director, and Javetta Whitfield, Assistant Director, on the line to accept the proclamation. And I will ask Commissioner Carter if she will read that at this time.
Why, thank you. Yes, absolutely. Be honored to. Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation, Older Americans Month 2021. Whereas Durham County includes a growing number of older Americans who have built resilience and strength over their lives through successes and difficulties. And whereas Durham County benefits when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds are included and encouraged to share their successes and stories of resilience. And whereas Durham County recognizes our need to nurture ourselves, reinforce our strength, and continue to thrive in times of both joy and struggle. And whereas Durham County is committed to the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, which require us to think differently about health and holistic well-being, and work together to ensure that older age strong, long, and with dignity. And whereas Durham County can foster communities of strength by creating opportunities to share stories and learn from each other, engaging older adults through education, recreation, and service, encouraging people of all ages to celebrate connections and resilience. Whereas Durham County appreciates the value of inclusion and support in helping older adults successfully contribute to and benefit from communities, and will work toward creating an age-friendly Durham. And therefore, be it resolved, I, Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim May 2021 as Older Americans Month in Durham County. We commend this observance to our residents and urge all residents, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, and businesses to join with the Department of Social Services, the Durham Center for Senior Life, Dementia Inclusive Durham, and the Durham's Partnership for Seniors Committee to honor older adults and those who care for them during May and throughout the year. We urge all to promote and participate in activities that contribute to helping older Americans make choices for a healthy, strong, safe, and rewarding future. This day of May 2021.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. And we have Ben Rose and Javetta Whitfield on the line.
So thank you again, Commissioner Howerton. Thank you, Board of Commissioners. I actually have Janine Gordon to join me for this one.
Oh, okay.
Javetta will be the next one, but
Okay.
This one is, we have two resolutions for you tonight. And this resolution is one that always is something we really try to emphasize and celebrate. I think the resolution alluded to many partnerships that exist in Durham for promoting an age-friendly community. And we really celebrate our seniors with this resolution, one of our most valuable resources. And I'm really proud of the work that we're doing in DSS. And I want to thank Commissioner Burns for her kind words earlier for Janine. Janine is not only doing things in the housing and rental area, but she is doing things all across the Aging and Adult Services Division to really bring innovative services to our citizens. And these are services that often they're very limited in funding. We don't get a lot of funding for senior services. If you really think about it, it's always capped and it's never enough. It's never ever enough. Commissioner Jacobs can attest to that with her advocacy for like Meals on Wheels and things of that nature. So we really try to stretch our dollars as much as we can and do innovative, creative partnerships. And Janine is definitely a leader in that space and leading the way. So I'm going to definitely let her say a couple of words because this is really her area and she does such wonderful work there. So Janine, all yours.
Thank you, Director Rose, and everyone this evening. I appreciate being able to speak with all of you this evening. And Older Americans Month is just one opportunity out of many to really recognize the older adults in our community who are active and who are committed to allowing our community to thrive and grow and be inclusive. And also recognizes that we have those in our community that aren't quite so active and rely heavily on caregivers and those who are caretakers as well. So this is really an excellent opportunity. We're always happy to make the proclamation and share with others and do outreach in the community about ensuring that we are present with our older adults so that they know that they are just as much a part of our community as they ever were.
Thank you, Janine. Commissioners, other comments? Okay, Commissioner Jacobs.
Well, I just can't not let Janine leave without acknowledging all of her hard work being Director of Aging Adult Services, and just again, the challenges that we have in our community have just been amplified with COVID, and that goes for our seniors as well. Again, our seniors being isolated and not having, basic things like food. Some of our adult protective services staff who've gone the extra mile going out to investigate when there's COVID in the facilities that they're going to. And we all know about that, but I just want to, again, uplift our seniors and what our board is going to do with our implementing our master aging plan. And knowing that our senior population is growing. So luckily we've got a great framework to move forward with. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just want to say thanks again to Ben and Janine for, this is really some really hard work that you do. And it's hard. It's that hard work that you do. And I mean the heart. As seniors, we have seniors is that history and that volunteer that's so much that's always needed in our community. And we really thank our seniors for bringing that history, especially.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, for no other remarks, thank you so much, Janine and Ben, and we'll move on to our last proclamation. And it's 210283, National Foster Care Month. The board is requested to proclaim May 2021 as National Foster Care Month. During this month, it increases the awareness, education, and opportunities for members in the community to engage and support the children and families engaged in foster care services. We also have Ben back again, and I think you said Javetta on the line to accept this proclamation. And I will ask Commissioner Alam if you will read this one.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation National Foster Care Month 2021. Whereas the family serving as the primary source of love, identity, self-esteem, and support is the foundation of our communities and our state. And whereas over 424,000 children in foster care nationwide because their own families are in crisis and unable to provide for their essential well-being. And whereas more than 17,000 children live in foster care in North Carolina because their own families are in crisis and unable to provide for their essential well-being. And whereas foster families who open their homes and hearts as a support to families and not a substitute for parents play a vital role in helping children and families to heal and reconnect and launching children into successful adulthood. And whereas in Durham County, there were 306 children and youth in foster care on April 1st, 2021, being provided with a safe, secure, and stable home, along with the compassion and nurture of a foster family. And whereas the needs of the foster care population result in a greater call for skilled foster families, community resources, and partnerships. And whereas the Durham County foster care system depends on the active support and involvement of the Durham community. And whereas the Durham County Department of Social Services is joined by numerous individuals, public and private organizations who work to increase public awareness of the needs of children in and leaving foster care, as well as the enduring and valuable contribution of foster parents. The Durham County Department of Social Services acknowledges foster care as a support to families and not a substitute for parents. Therefore, we recognize the critical role that everyone has in enhancing the lives of children and youth in foster care. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim May 2021 as National Foster Care Month in Durham County. We commend this observance to our community and urge all citizens to come forward and do something positive that will help raise hope and foster dreams of children and youth in foster care. This 10th day of May 2021, signed Brenda Howerton, Chair, Durham Board of County Commissioners.
Ooh. I'm sorry, my computer wants to act up here. So, and we have Ben again. Ben, you're on this one as well, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have you tonight.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. But thank
No
you
problem.
again.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you again. This resolution, again, like our other one, this one is really special to me. This is why I do what I do in a lot of ways. Child welfare has always been a passion of mine for my 30 plus years in this business, and especially when it comes to children that we have to bring into care in our foster families. They are truly a tremendous resource to us. So this is celebrating them. It's celebrating our families as well too, because one thing we have to acknowledge is when we bring a child into care, we are creating trauma for this child. That is traumatic. The second most traumatic thing that can happen to a child is to be separated from a parent, even a parent that may be having personal issues of neglect and abuse, quite frankly. I always tell the story about one family I was working with where the children were being severely abused and neglected. This was in another county, it wasn't here. And the children actually were not in our county, they were in a neighboring county, but they came to our agency, and we were instructed by the neighboring county to take custody of these children. And I will never forget when the mom was in there yelling and screaming at us and just, chewing us up. And the kids were so calm during that. But when mom left, those kids became so emotional and just literally cried for 30 minutes. And I sat there with two of my other workers, and we just literally held those kids for 30 minutes. Foster care is very challenging. So our foster parents understand this, they get trained in this, and they are such a valuable resource. And of course, our goal is to always try to keep families together. But this one's really special to me, and I'm wearing my blue. I know it's Carolina blue. It's not Duke blue, but it's blue. And I got to take my picture for Jovetta. And I see some thumbs up still. And and Jovetta has got, and so does Commissioner Jacob. She has her sign as well too. I need to get that, but Jovetta, again, is over a very challenging area, does tremendous work, and I want her to definitely share a couple of words with you as well as we celebrate what we do in foster care. So Jovetta, thank you.
Thank you, Ben, and to all the county commissioners assembled tonight and those who are listening. I do appreciate the opportunity once again to come before you just to raise awareness once again of what we do at DSS, and that is something that is very important to us. Our foster parents are our jewel. They're one of our jewels, because without them, we would not be able to provide the safe and secure homes while we're working with our families to reunite our children with them. During this month, we do take the time to just bring awareness about foster care, the system in general, but we also take the time to celebrate our parents who have stepped in to support the agency, the youth, and the parents, because there's some shared parenting going on between our birth parents and our foster parents, which only makes it easier for the transition of youth when they return back to their families. And it provides that additional safety net and support even once they leave the system. But we will be recognizing and acknowledging our foster parents through this virtual and COVID world with a drive-through celebration this Saturday at the parking lot, I believe above the scrap exchange. So we will celebrate them with some hot dogs and just to recognize them for being champions throughout 2020 and up to now 2021. So I do want to put the plug in if there's anyone who is interested in becoming a foster parent for Durham County, you can of course call our recruitment line at 919-560-8092. But this year we have also implemented a new software where families or persons who are interested can also apply online. So if you go to our Durham County DSS website and go to the child welfare link, if you click on that and then click on Raise Hope Foster Dreams, you will also be able now to apply or express your interest in being a foster parent online. And this is a new software that we have just launched in the last 30 days. We hope that it will foster the communication between the department and those who are seeking interest in being foster parents and streamline some things that we're trying to improve on. So again, go to the Durham County DSS website, click on Child Welfare Services, and then click on Raise Hope Foster Dreams, and you'll see a flyer that says click here or call 919-560-8092.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jovetta. Thank you for this. Also is that kind of work that is just like, it touches your heart. I remember last year, 2020, we missed having the opportunity to visit with the foster parents when you have events. We missed that this past year, and hopefully we'll be able to have it this coming year. Because I think we all look forward to just connecting with the parents and just seeing how proud they are of being able to be foster parents. So thank you for your work. And Ben, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Are there any comments from commissioners? Commissioner Burns and then Commissioner Long.
This is really quick. I want to thank them for the work they do. I also want to thank the parents, but also some of our nonprofits that also do this work, like the Best Family Foundation. There are so many things. I think that when we look at popular culture and we look at the way foster parenting is looked upon, it is completely misguided. There's a misinformation campaign out there when these people are really doing some of our best work. You know, last year was one of the first times that I got to actually work in a foster care family drive. And, you know, they're taking children to people's homes in the middle of the night. And these folks need diapers, they need milk, they need everything. And so there are so many community partners who are out there who are providing that service. I think the other big thing that I learned, and I don't know how many people will be surprised along this, You all probably would not because you've been doing this work, but I did not learn until 2019 that foster care went up to age 21. Think about how pivotal that was for us during the pandemic, when so many colleges and universities said, you can still come to college, but we're not going to be in class. So somebody had to take what we consider an adult into their home so this person can be fostered. And we saw some of that in Durham. So I just want the community to know that, there are so many other avenues where you can enter into this space and be supportive. So while we applaud those, if there are things like external things that we continue to need, by all means, Javetta, then a lot of us want to aid in leading that charge, and just thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so much. That's so well said. The partnerships goes across this community. And there's too many to name, but thank you, Commissioner Burns, for those words. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Thank you.
Commissioner Alum.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. Commissioner Burns took so many of the words out of my mouth. We tend to do that a lot for each other, but it's a good thing. I also just want to add on my thanks to you, Director Rose and Javetta, for all of the work you guys do. It's definitely not easy work, and you guys are really helpful and always there for our community and families. I want to thank all of the parents who step up to be foster parents. In college, I actually babysat for a family that took in 3 foster children, and they took them in. It was a kind of emergency situation that if this family hadn't taken them in, these kids would have been split up and set into different families. So giving an opportunity for these siblings to stay together. And that would have had a really detrimental effect on these young kids if they were split up. So thank you to all the foster parents who always step up and are taking care of our children.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks again.
I think one of the nice things about working on the 3rd floor is I'm by the visitation room, so I get to see the families when they visit with the kids. And it's really uplifting, and I'm carrying my candy basket out there a lot, probably against the advice of the social workers, because they're like, they don't need any more candy. But it's the foster parents are just such heroes. So thank you for acknowledging that, and thank you all for again supporting this resolution. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for bringing it to us. And foster parents are special people. They are very special people. So thank you again. Thanks, Javetta.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jacobs.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to share that I will share these backdrops that seeing Javetta with hers made me quickly go and find the email that has that was sent out with a variety of backdrops that all of us can use to help promote this important message about foster care. So thank you, Javetta. I quickly ran and got mine, although I'm not wearing blue. But so I will share that out with the rest of our board so we can each help to promote and support what you all are doing right now. Thank you so much. Throughout the month, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Throughout the month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, commissioners, we are down to our consent agenda. We have 14 consent items on the agenda, and commissioners would like to pull any items for discussion. I ask that we place them at the end of the meeting to have those discussions. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We do have one additional recognition item for the Board of Elections.
Oh, that's right. I skipped that one. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Of all people, I don't want to miss that one. So this one is 21-304. And this is the Board of Election receives a National Clearinghouse Award for the United States Election Assistance Commission. So the board is requested to recognize the Durham County Board of Election for receiving a 2020 Clarion Award for Outstanding Innovation in Election Administration for its early voting wait time tracking tool from the United States Election Assistance Commission. And we have Derek Bowman, Board of Elections Director, on the line to share more details about this award. And I looked for a resolution. We don't have a resolution on that one. Did we, Monica?
No, ma'am, we do not. I apologize. It's
Okay.
just the recognition for the award.
Okay. And I did go on the information and pull up the award. Is there any way that can be shown online?
Let me see if I can find it.
Okay, in the meantime, Derek, are you there? We'd like to have some comments from you.
Thanks, Chair Howerton. I'll turn it over to our Board of Elections Chair, Phil Lehman, and then I can chime in after he speaks. That's okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. And yeah, thank you, Derek. Derek doesn't like to blow his own horn, but I'm happy to blow it for him because this is really an honor for Durham County to receive this national award from the U.S. Elections Assistance Commission. I think it's a recognition of the foresight and planning by Derek Bowens and his staff in conjunction with the city county GIS staff to make this the project happen. What they did was design an innovative voter wait time tracking tool, the first of its kind in the state, and maybe anywhere, I don't know, but it was subsequently copied by other counties. We were contacted by Wake County almost right away, and they were embarrassed to be behind Durham and wanted to know how to do it and how to implement it. We, of course, did it. But it took, not only work, but technical expertise and creativity. And I want to recognize a couple of people in particular. One is Aaron Lewandowski, who's our elections training specialist at the Board of Elections, and also Kelly Doss, who is a GIS analyst for the county. They did a lot of the work. I'm sure you recall what a challenge we faced with the 2020 general election. Not only was it going to be a very, very heavily voted presidential election, but we had a lot of overlay with changing regulations and court decisions to deal with almost constantly. And of course, the biggest issue was COVID safety. It was a huge concern. The public had legitimate worries about having to stand in line in close proximity for extended periods of time in order to vote. And there were stories and pictures coming out of places like, this is after the primary election in 2020, places like Atlanta, New York, and Wisconsin, where the situation was not good. There were crowds and waiting time. So Derek and his staff came up with a couple of things. The first was to respond with a very robust early voting plan where we had 14 sites open each for 17 days. I think it was, again, one of the most robust in the state. But they went beyond that by coming up with a real innovation, which is the reason for this award, was to set up an online tracking tool so that voters could look online and find out what waiting times there were for each of the early voting sites. And these were updated constantly by elections officials at the sites, would report back, and the waiting times would be posted. So that people, if they saw one site like the downtown library had a 20-minute waiting line, but the Criminal Justice Resource Center, only a block or so away, had a 0 waiting time, people would know to go there. And it also helped us because we had a lot of these voting sites, some of which have been underutilized, but with this tool, it spread it out more and people were directed to sites that were not so heavily used. The application also had not only directions from people's residences to the nearest voting site, but also bus routes. Told people what bus route was available to get from their home to any of these sites. And we know it was successful. It had a lot of hits, and we got a lot of positive feedback from the public and also from other elections jurisdictions. So we were just so relieved to get through this election successfully without any major glitches. We did not expect to have any icing on the cake in terms of a national award, but it's a real credit to Derek and his staff. And I also want to thank the county commissioners. I mean, you all have been very helpful, and the county government stepped up and helped us financially and with grant applications and logistical support. And it was really a team effort because we needed it. It was an unusual election for a lot of reasons, but I'm glad we got through it as well as we did. So thank you for all that you did. If you all have any questions, Derek is the man, and I'd ask him if he wants to chime in if I missed out on anything.
Thank you, Phil, and congratulations again. I want to open it up for commissioners. Thank you, Monica. You're wonderful. So we get to see the award, 2000 U.S. Election Assistance Commission 2020 Clearinghouse Award winner. Congratulations again. Commissioners, if you have any comments or questions for Derek or Phil. And I can't see all of you with this. If you have your hands raised, I can't see you with this in the middle of the screen. So is that Commissioner Jacobs, you have your hand up?
I didn't, Chair Howerton, but I didn't, but I'll just quickly say thank you to Phil and also Derek and all of your staff and all of the Board of Elections, because it also takes a team that is behind an incredible award like this to get this national recognition. And again, thank you, Derek, for everything that you did to make sure that our elections were fair, were safe, that everybody had the ability and the right to vote, and everyone's well-being and safety was protected as well. So thank you again.
Other commissioners? Commissioner Carter?
Thank you, Chair Howerton. I also want to thank and congratulate Derek Bowens and Phil and the whole Board of Elections, the whole team. I guess I've just been reading so much about what feels like almost the plot against America and the attack on voting rights, especially in some communities nationwide. And never have I been prouder of just, the strength and fairness of our elections here, and want to thank you so much for safeguarding that most precious of democratic rights. Thank you so much. It's never been more important.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter, and others. Okay, I don't see any other hands. So I too want to say thank you, Derek and Phil, the work and your team, because everything happens with a team, and we are so proud to have you in our community and taking care of our elections. And you can't go anywhere. We have to keep you here, and we are always happy to support whatever you need. Just let us know. There are no other questions. Would you like to have something to say, Derek?
No, I would just thank you all for the kind remarks. Did want to give a shout out to our precinct officials. They are the engine that keeps us running. So we're grateful for the work they did to key in the numbers to produce the information for voters to have these services. So just a shout out to our precinct officials, Aaron Lewandowski, our training specialist, who put the posting together for submission. So just thank you to our precinct officials and the staff and the commissioners for your continued support.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thanks again. All right, I would not want to have missed that. Thank you, Monica, for reminding me. Now we can move on to the consent agenda. We have 14 consent items. And as I said, commissioners, if there's an item that you'd like to pull, we can put it at the end of the agenda and discuss it at that point. So I will ask the manager if you could go through the list of items and for our consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and good evening. Our first item on the consent agenda is item 205, which is a capital project amendment for 3 capital projects totaling $12,438,000 for IS&T. Is essentially for modernizing our equipment, replacing audio-visual technologies and things of that nature. And it will be funded through a future bank finance issuance of a bank financing. Any questions or concerns there? Hearing none, we're going to move on to item 248, which is the interlocal agreement between the County of Durham and the City of Durham for the purchase and storage of sodium chloride, which is effectively salt. Item number 260 is approval of a budget ordinance amendment to appropriate $60,000 from the general fund balance to cover additional capital expenses for fireproofing for the convention center.
Okay. Did you skip 255?
I think I may have. Item 255 is a budget ordinance amendment transferring $130,412 of sewer utility enterprise fund money for the collection system to a capital project budget amendment for our wastewater treatment plant. Are there any questions there? Going back to item 260. Item 260 is the approval of a budget ordinance amendment appropriating $60,000 of general fund balance to cover the additional capital expenses for the fireproofing of the Durham Convention Center roof. Item 261 is a budget ordinance amendment recognizing the donation of $1,034 from the Durham Friends Meeting to the Criminal Justice Resource Center. Item 263 is a utility vision collection system scheduled for the emergency repair contract with David Young Utilities. Item 267 is the Durham County FY22 Transit Work Program and the Durham County Transit Plan Material Change. Item 273 is the emergency and scheduled repair contract amendment with David Young Utilities for our wastewater plant down at Highway 55. Item 270 by the Durham County Board of Commissioners in support of the Building Center's request to the North Carolina Department of Transportation for economic development funds for the widening of Riddle Road in Durham County.
What's going on? I'm freezing up.
It's still low bandwidth.
Yeah, it's freezing. It's freezing up here. Let's see if he's gonna come back or not.
If not, do we have a GM?
Okay. Monica, can you hear? He seems to be off the screen. Mr. Manager, can you hear?
It might be the whole building. Monica's in there too.
Yeah, Monica can't seem to hear either.
It may be a problem downtown, Chair Howerton. This is Jay, and I'm Jay Gibson. I'm at a remote location, and I can hear you and Commissioner Burns and the others fine. So I'm wondering if we're having a little problem with our downtown infrastructure right now, perhaps.
Jay, this is Keith. I'm sitting in the ground floor at the Admin 1 building right now. I believe the manager and Monica are on 4M, so there might be a problem up there on their floor. I can tell that the manager is speaking from a downtown office here in Admin 1. The fact that he went off means he's probably restarted and trying to get back on.
He just said he's reconnecting. He sent me a text to say he's reconnecting now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. The rest of the commissioners can hear, okay? All right. So if he doesn't come back on, I'm gonna continue to go ahead through these. I think he stopped at 273.
Chair Howerton, there was a issue with his connection, but I am logging him back in now. So
Okay.
he will be continuing in one moment.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so computers really are like sailboats. They're great things to have, but you can't rely on them to get you any place on time. So I think I'm reconnected now.
All right, great. So I think you were at 274.
All right. So item 274 is essentially a resolution of the Durham County Board of Commissioners in support of the Building Center's request with the North Carolina Department of Transportation for Economic Development funds for the widening of Riddle Road. Were there any questions or concerns there? Hearing none, we're going to move to item 282, which is a budget ordinance amendment of $325,428.60 of general fund balance for the County Sheriff's Department to move to Office 365 migration and the associated contracts. Item 284 is the awarding of a contract for RFP for janitorial services for Durham County government. Item 292 is a capital project amendment for Northern High School in the amount of $92,785,475 using limited obligation bonds for the future funding sources of the total project, which will be in the amount of $101 million, roughly.
Okay.
Item 293.
Excuse me, Mr. Manager, I just had a quick comment on this item. I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that we are fully funding Northern High School with this action, and also just recognizing that in the agenda action form, it references that on October 12th, 2020, that our board approved reallocating the $49 million that had been allocated to Northern to other shovel-ready projects, which included Elementary School C and other projects.
Item 293 is the Juvenile Crime Commission Council funding recommendations for fiscal years 22 and 2023.
Commissioner Howerton, 30-second comment with your permission.
Sure.
This was my first year sitting on this board. I was gonna pull the other two, but I just wanted to give a special shout out to Nisha Williams, who chaired this committee. They did a great job of going through each and every one of these applications. I thank Mr. Cruz for being the consultant on it, as well as Kelly for setting up all the meetings. For individuals who did apply and did not get funding this go round, I was pleased to see that the commission chair did take the time to give individuals reasons why, so that they can be hopeful for applying next year. I also want to point out that this is the first time they've ever done multi-year funding. And when you do multi-year funding, it gives you a better gaze into outcomes or measurable deliverables for a lot of these projects. So I'm really proud of the steps that they've taken. I'm happy that we have this on consent agenda, and I can't wait to see what these groups do next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 306 is a contract amendment for the National Institute of Economic Development to support Durham Public Schools MWBE efforts. Madam Chairman, that concludes our consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Manager, and I appreciate you doing that. And just for the public's interest to know that all of these things were on our work session, that the commissioners had an opportunity to go over and ask staff questions. So tonight we are moving them ahead, and I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Seconded.
Moved by Commissioner Burns, second by Commissioner Alam. I will ask the clerk to take a verbal vote.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter, Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
and Chair Howerton.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved 5-0. So our business tonight, Commissioners, 0270 Durham County Public Health Focus Update on COVID-19 crisis. The board is requested to a public health focus update from our county staff on COVID-19's response and effort. The discussion will be led by none other than our Public Health Director, Roger Jennings. We are so pleased with all the hard work that he does along with his staff. So welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, fellow commissioners, Manager Davis, Attorney Darby, and the rest of the general manager staff. We bring you greetings from Public Health, where hopefully we're going to provide a glimmer of what's to come. So I believe Monica is going to give me the screen, or I will try to share.
I think you should be able to share now.
All right. Thank you so much. So I will start by saying we continue to promote the prevention strategies that have garnered us success, 3 W's, but I'd add 3 W's and a G, get vaccinated. It is available just about anywhere right now. Probably within a 5-mile radius of where you live, you can go get the COVID vaccine. And, you know, Durham Public Health has been an innovator and a leader in providing vaccine to all of our community partners. And we look forward to providing it to pediatric practices, as great news was just announced maybe about a little over 3 hours ago, where the FDA has granted emergency use authorization for the Pfizer vaccine for 12 and older. So we are ready. We look forward to getting the official green light from the state Department of Health and Human Services, and our staff is prepared for our residents. The slide deck was sent a little earlier, but we have had some discharges since the time we sent it. So our current total active cases are 25 active cases. We have 25,152 inactive cases. Those individuals have been discharged from COVID care. Unfortunately, we've picked up a few more deaths. We had 227 deaths. Our thoughts and prayers are always with those families. So in total, 25,409 total cases. That's the updated information. Our 7-day moving average continues to go down, and we hope it goes way down. It's 37 as of last Monday, which is definitely a decrease from 40 2 weeks ago and 48 a few weeks ago. So we continue to see it go down. Total cases for the month of May thus far, 296. We keep an eye on racial equity when it comes to trends as far as COVID-19 infections. And we have expressed concern about the Black or African American being overrepresented. Last week, Wednesday, I did request a special audience with the African American COVID-19 Task Force to apprise them of what I've been seeing. And, you know, more or less a call to action is to let them know, like, this thing is not over. And it's we see it affecting the Black or African American community in greater numbers. Hispanic continues to be proportionally represented. Whites have been underrepresented throughout the entire pandemic, but their percentages are way low. 14.71% is on par with the percentage of residents of the Latinx community. Again, 60.78 is relatively high. So we have definitely been keeping a close eye on that. We are mobilizing activities to make sure that our African American community knows that COVID vaccine is the way to prevent illness, prevent deaths, and it's here for you. So we continue our work with our community-based organizations to spread that word. Our positive percentage of labs continues to go down as well. 3.4 was reported last week, 3.8 2 weeks ago. It's been running 3%, since April 18. Duke's model shows our rate of infections at 1.2%, not only for Durham, but also for North Carolina as well. CDC pretty much gives us information that is relative to all vaccine providers, to include the VA, to include federal partnerships. And Durham continues to do extremely well. Percentage of our total population per the CDC is 41.6%. So we're getting close to half our population being vaccinated. We look forward to vaccinating 12 and under to increase that percentage. Population greater than 18 years of age, 131,952. Our population which represents 51.6%. We are delighted, continue to be delighted at our seniors. We're right at about 80.1% of our seniors being vaccinated. That's individuals 65 and older, which represents 33,218. Per the CDC, our level of community transmission of COVID-19 has decreased from high to substantial. It doesn't mean that all is well, but it does mean that we're doing fairly well with our vaccinations, and things are definitely getting a little bit better in Durham. A snapshot from DHHS as far as Durham has us being right at about 41%. And this commissions, I will say, these are all based upon North Carolina COVID vaccine providers, not all, but just North Carolina providers. So 41.0% of our population has at least got one dose of vaccine. They have us at 37% fully vaccinated. And again, our work continues, but you see how we're shaded in a darker green. That means that our numbers are way, way high. So we are definitely doing what we're supposed to do. As far as our COVID dashboard, there have been 250,706 vaccinations performed through May 9th, 2021. Total white population as far as partial vaccinations full, 50-50. Black African American, 28 partial vaccinations, 26% fully vaccinated. Our Asian population in Durham County, 50% have been partially vaccinated, 48% have been fully vaccinated. And our Durham County residents have been vaccinated at well over 500 provider sites across the state of North Carolina. When we turn our attention to our Latinx population, I will say to the commissioners, they are most certainly heeding the call to get vaccinated, and they are coming in large numbers to the Health and Human Services building to get vaccinated. I am a witness. I'm still there every day. A total of 12,808 Hispanic or Latinx residents have been vaccinated thus far. Keep in mind, there are 14% of our population in Durham. 28% have been partially vaccinated, 20% have been fully vaccinated. So we are pleasantly delighted that they're coming out, and they've been coming, with a lot of their family members to get vaccinated. And that is a strategy that we're using on all fronts, just to make sure that everyone can come and take advantage of the vaccine. Again, vaccine equity is still top of mind. So again, our walk-ins are still available to everyone, including this new group of individuals. We take walk-ins, we take appointments for those who prefer appointments. The hours of operation, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, from 9 to 4 for walk-ins. Tuesday, we offer extended hours for those people who work, who traditionally can't get off from work doing traditional business times, but we don't turn anyone away. We are continuing to conduct community vaccination events on Thursday, Fridays, and most Saturdays to ensure vaccine equity and distribution of the vaccine in an equitable manner. And we have been out in the community to include a strip mall off of Highway 98. So we are definitely in places that are very visible, that they can see the Durham Health Department tent and that vaccines are available. And pleasantly surprised to say that we are getting all kinds of takers and individuals who truly want to be vaccinated. I've also been asked commissioners to provide some additional updates from our EOC and our homeless task force. They're continuing to work hard and to really target the hardest to reach individuals to get them vaccinated. The strategy is definitely to help get the vaccine, get people to vaccine events. It's a little tough to bring vaccine to 4 or 5 people, so we try to get them to come to us. But we're definitely working with community paramedics and ensuring that some of them are able to carry vaccine. It was delightful. For 2 weeks, we had the community paramedics in the clinics with us to get trained and actually performing vaccinations. So that partnership has been very, very rewarding. And they are definitely looking to see what the new normal would be as they try to imagine returning to pre-COVID capacity at Urban Ministries of Durham. DSS, I'm not going to say anything because Ben Rose was the star of the show. So we definitely know that the ERAP program is up and running, and we encourage our residents to take advantage of that if they need those services. And then for food security, they're working with us. They want to coordinate vaccination at food distribution points, and we're in the process of just gathering the information to determine the best time to go out there and see whether or not we can assist them. But that is our updates for right now, and more than happy to take your questions.
Chair Howerton, you're muted.
Thank you. I was talking to myself. So thank you, Rod, as always, for your great report. Commissioners, comments or questions? Commissioner Lum.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. Thank you so much, Director Jenkins. I didn't necessarily have a question. I saw right before we joined our meeting that the FDA did approve the Pfizer vaccine for kids 12 and up. So I was wondering if, I know this news has just come out, but maybe if you could share with community members what the plan is for rolling that out for across Durham.
Absolutely. We have not rested on our laurels. We knew this information was pending. So we have been contacted by several charter schools who definitely want to partner with community events or be a COVID vaccine site. We have been working and have initial talks with Durham Public Schools to ensure that we're able to host a series of events. We are trying to partner, initially partnered with Chapel Hill Pediatrics under the leadership of Dr. Mary Braithwaite and War for Life, who's been doing a fantastic job. We have had about 2.5 meetings, and we're set to begin with initial campaign of education in the form of town halls. And then hopefully toward the end of the month, Commissioner Lum will be able to designate a site to where it's easily accessible, and we can have families come to get vaccinated. But this is going to be a long campaign. We know that we'll be doing this over the summer in hopes that we can send our kids back to school fully vaccinated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions or concerns? Commissioner Jacobs?
Thank you for that thorough report, Rod. Just to follow up on Commissioner Lum's question, I hope that we'll have a situation where the kids are bringing the parents in to get vaccinated. we see a lot of times that that it is the children and kids that are leading the way, but I know that this will be a really important issue for our schools. I was actually in a meeting with a school board member today, and it'll really make a big difference if all of our high school kids can be fully vaccinated, and most of our middle school, just in terms of the types of things that will have to be implemented or not in those environments. It really will make a big difference. So I look forward to that. And you mentioned about the community paramedicine program. I was in the Stepping Up Initiative meeting today. Helen Tripp was talking about how they are hitting the road and going out and doing outreach into where our people who are experiencing homelessness, who may not feel comfortable coming into to clinics and other settings, and to really spread the word, and to help get the word out that our community paramedics are willing to go anywhere to go to people, to give them vaccines. So I just wanted to share that message from them. Really good to know that if you know of people who need somebody to come to them, we've got our awesome community paramedics who are willing to do that.
Indeed. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. And again, Helen Tripp is something kind of wonderful, and her team did come and they sat in our seats and they vaccinated and they learned and, really took on to our technique. And I have no doubt that they're prepared to do just that. So, we're grateful for that partnership. And Madam Chair, I just want to give you a quick shout out and sincerely thank you for recognizing the nurses. It is National Nurses Week, and it culminates on May 12th, which is the birthday of Florence Nightingale, who is the mother of nursing, so to speak. So definitely want to give a shout out to the nursing corps of Durham County Department of Public Health. They are rock stars. They are my heroes, and it has been truly warming and truly fulfilling to see the compassion and the professionalism that they exhibit on a daily basis in our clinic, particularly for those people who are terrified of needles. They do a very good job assuring people that it's not that bad, it's going to be all right. And that extends itself to all demographics and all ages.
We're not telling.
Not at all.
We're not telling. Well, thank you so much. As always, you do an absolutely extraordinary job, you and your staff, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Commissioners, our next item is the 2021-22 Manager's Recommended Budget Presentation. This time I introduce a manager to present the recommended budget for 2021-22 to the commissioners. This is in accordance with NCGS 159-12 of the Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act. We want to thank the manager, and if he can go ahead and start with his presentation.
Good evening, Chair Howerton, members of the Board of County Commissioners, our county staff, and of course, our Durham County residents. It is an honor to present to you my recommended budget for fiscal year 2021-22. And what a unique one to develop. Durham County has experienced so much over the last year and has responded in ways that only our citizens, our business, and governmental entities can. That ability to soberly face a pandemic, economic uncertainties, racial equity, and other critical needs has never been more tested. But I can proudly say that our employees and our citizens continue to prove why this is such an amazing place to live, to work, and of course, to truly thrive. The framework for developing this budget recommendation is best characterized by a mixture of optimism and uncertainty. Optimism that the pandemic's most damaging effects are receding. Optimism that Durham's local economy is set to be vibrant again. And optimism that significant federal stimulus funds will support strategic investments in the county's future, as well as our ongoing COVID health and economic relief strategies. Uncertainty, however, remains the damage already wrought that is yet to finish unfolding. Uncertainty that the traditional modes of public support and needs may continue to be altered, and uncertainty that local revenues can keep up with the growing county needs. With that in mind, my recommended budget, through judicious funding decisions, reflects the county's response to significant internal and external pressures, both known and unknown. We're in the midst of wrestling with a host of vexing social, economic, and public health challenges. And to navigate these complex dynamics and to keep Durham County on course for a brighter tomorrow, the Board of County Commissioners has a guiding strategic plan. This plan consists of 5 strategic goals and related objectives and strategies which tie together service delivery within departments. This guide places a higher priority on collaboration among departments and the community, but it also puts performance management, the managing for results model, at its core. Next slide. Okay, there we are. This FY 2021-22 manager's recommended budget tries to balance the need for resources that were so severely curtailed over the last 2 years, including unfreezing positions, supporting additional funding for departments, and reinstituting pay raises, while also financially supporting services that will help the county and its residents emerge from the pandemic. But we must also recognize the many needs of the county departments and staff that continue to grow outside of our public health concerns and handle that growth in a financially sound manner. We continue to do this work consistently by trying to forecast our long-term revenue conditions. And ultimately, this budget, as previous budgets, is about meeting the near future needs of the community with an eye towards the ongoing sustainability of Durham County's vibrant economy, culture, and the life that we have grown to know here in Durham. Our key priorities I have built into this recommended budget attempt to alleviate the stress our organization has been under for the past 2 years, which included significant departmental reductions and no salary increases, while also facing the daunting pandemic aftermath needs of our community. With that said, my most important priority was protecting the economic stability of our employees by finding funding for all field positions and supporting existing benefits. And those key priorities include operational budget increases where appropriate, the reinstatement of the employee merit increases, a cost of living adjustment for our employees, supporting additional position requests, support for employee health benefit increases, and increased fund balance appropriation as a revenue source, in addition to support for our schools. The framework for this recommended budget is structured around revenue estimates for the upcoming year. Establishing a baseline revenue amount is key in assessing how much new funding is available to support COVID-related needs, ongoing departmental needs, new positions, new commissioner goals and directives, and as always, inflationary increases across the organization. Broadly speaking, estimated revenue growth for the upcoming year is distinctly positive. Simply put, due to a stronger than expected recent and current economy, the county is budgeting better than expected growth for next fiscal year in key revenue areas. However, even with significant natural growth in key revenues, the financial needs presented to and by various departments across the organization are significantly higher than this natural growth in revenue alone can fund. With minimal ability to create substantial additional revenue other than the property tax rate increase and significant new and mostly costly and more costly ongoing operational needs, the county is left with two stark choices. We can reduce department budgets for a third year in a row in order to fund the needs in other areas, or we can increase the property tax rate for the upcoming fiscal year. The fundamental challenge for development of the FY 21-22 budget is that even with significant natural growth in key revenues totaling approximately $19.7 million, 7 key priorities more than consume this growth, as illustrated in this graph. These priorities total approximately $22.2 million. Durham Public Schools continue to be, by far, the largest recipient of county funding, and their recommended increase for the upcoming year is $10.1 million. In fact, their very size is making it progressively more difficult to find natural growth in revenue just to support their annual increases. Other high priorities are listed in order for approximate additional cost for the upcoming fiscal year. Of course, there were additional new and expansion costs throughout the general fund budget not included in this list. Being mindful that the Biden administration's ARPA funding for Durham County, for Durham, should I say, is approximately $300 million for Durham County, the city of Durham, and DPS, I'm optimistic that we can address many of the challenges presented by COVID and hopefully beyond this pandemic. While we have not yet received the final criteria from the U.S. Treasury to assure compliance is in order, we look forward to developing a vision in concert with the board on how those dollars can be spent to maximize the equity and the impact for the future of Durham. Approximately $2.9 million of these ARPA funds are being used in this recommended budget to support specific COVID-related services, including additional county support for the convention center due to lost revenue, additional funding for cleaning and security services in our general services department, continued screening for our many facilities carried out by our human resources department, and lost revenue from court facility fees. As part of understanding and development of the estimated FY 21-22 property tax revenue, it is important to assess how FY 2021 collection of property tax is progressing. Current estimates of year-end collections for property tax have the county surpassing budgeted amounts by approximately $11.7 million, which is close to 103.7 collection for our current year. Therefore, the high growth in collections for the current fiscal year is largely fueling property tax revenue for the upcoming fiscal year, while on top of that is stacked estimated property tax revenue growth for the upcoming fiscal year. So we have a double hit of revenue growth. The natural growth on our property valuation is 5%, or $2.2 billion from FY 2021 to FY 21-22. And while this is significant growth, it is important to emphasize that this captures the growth from the current year's conservative approach, as well as modest growth from this coming year. All the above explanations translate into estimated additional property tax revenue of $13.6 million for the general fund before any property tax rate increase. Therefore, as part of the recommended budget, I am proposing a 1 cent general fund property tax rate increase to provide additional revenue of $4.58 million. This is necessary to support new positions, compensation adjustments for county employees, a continued increase in Durham Public School funding, vital vehicle replacement in key departments such as the Sheriff's Department and our emergency medical services, and COVID-related support for county operations and ongoing support for county residents' health needs. This recommended tax rate increase was not made lightly, but in response to the current and future needs presented by the organization. The displayed table shows what a 1 cent tax rate increase would cost a homeowner of different valued properties. We budget property tax revenue in two categories. One to support general fund expenses, and the other to support the capital financing fund, which pays for capital projects and debt service. The proposed tax increase would be for the general fund. I would like to recommend the board and Durham County citizens that the property tax rate is the primary revenue source controllable by the board and is the only significant way to raise additional revenue in future years. And while the rate is recommended to increase for the upcoming fiscal year, future increases may also be needed to support ongoing county goals, including our significant commitment to Durham Public Schools, capital planning, and other initiatives. An additional 1 cent tax increase is needed for the Durham County Fire and Rescue Service District to support consolidation with the city of Durham. As a part of the interlocal agreement with the city, the district is scheduled to share a portion of the expenses for a new Station 18, which is to open in late fiscal year next year. The Lebanon Fire District is also requesting a 3/4 cent tax increase. These additional funds will allow continued operations while also supporting personnel expenses for their 12 full-time employees. The 3 other county special tax districts are able to continue current operations and service levels without a tax rate increase this fiscal year. The total amount of budgeted sales tax revenue for net fiscal year is $94.6 million. For perspective, this is the equivalent of 21 cents of the property tax revenue. Sales tax revenue is the second largest revenue source for Durham County government and is entirely related to economic activity. The estimated current year collections is expected to come in well above budget estimates. In fact, sales tax collections in FY 2021 is expected to increase by 8.9% over what was originally budgeted. That overcollection for the current fiscal year, along with an estimated 4% growth in sales tax for FY 21-22, equals $11.1 million increase in sales tax revenue, which is a 13.3% increase. It should be noted that $5 million of that increase goes to the capital financing fund by board policy, while $6.1 million helps fund many different general fund initiatives. That estimated 4% growth in sales tax collection revenue for this fiscal year is relatively conservative and still reflects the possible unknown and, as of yet, played out economic consequences of the COVID pandemic. For this budget, I am recommending the transfer of available funds from the debt service fund equivalent of 65 cents of 0.65 cents of property tax revenue, or $3 million. These funds come from accumulated county savings related to lower than planned interest rates on bond issuance and capital projects, as well as slower than expected spending on major capital projects. Use of general fund balance as a revenue source over the past 2 years has been flat due to economic concerns. But the current year's significant revenue over collection will allow for additional use of that funding source. Together, there's $4.6 million being made available for general fund use in the recommended budget, equivalent to 1 additional cents on the property tax rate. It is important to note that a portion of these funds are available only for FY 2021-22, and therefore will support only one-time cost incurred during the year. Such spending restrictions support the continued sound fiscal standing of the county. While the general fund is where the vast majority of the daily activity and spending for government services occurs, there are a number of other funds that serve specific county financial and operational purposes. These include the already mentioned special tax districts, the debt service fund, and our sewer utility fund. The total county budget, including all of these funds, increased 8% to just under $730 million, while the general fund, a subset of that total amount, increases 6.89% to almost $500 million. Some, but not all of the increases in the general fund include increases to employee health insurance, increases to Durham Public School funding, DSS Medicaid compliance support, the expansion of our Bull City United program, our DSS economic support program for low-income, long-time homeowners, which is one of our racial equity program initiatives that we have been working on. We have in past called tax assistance. It includes a 3% COLA for all employees, a reinstatement of the employee pay for performance, and of course, storage space for the rental that we need to accommodate our emergency services operations. I'm going to transition now, and I want to talk about the specific goal areas. So here are a few highlights of some of the major items funded within Goal 1, which is community empowerment and enrichment. The main priority, as expressed by the Board of County Commissioners in the strategic plan and reiterated in the recent board retreat, is education. And this budget recommendation reflects that priority, with Durham Public Schools continuing to be the single largest expenditure for Durham County government at $163.3 million, or 32.7% of the entire general fund budget. This funding includes a current expense increase of $8.99 million and an additional $1.13 million for DPS current capital needs, which specifically addresses an ongoing request from our partners at the Board of Education. DPS will be receiving significant federal COVID-related funding over the next several years, up to $136 million. This federal funding support will go a long way toward supporting student needs coming out of the pandemic. Even in extraordinary times, the county's commitment to education is unwavering. Another integral part of Durham County's support for education of all of its residents is funding for Durham Technical Community College. This educational system provides a myriad of services, degrees, as well as opportunities that either continue education after high school and towards college, or towards a high-paying job and a stable lifelong career. The total funding for Durham Tech increases $406,367. Durham Technical Community College supports and enhances an extremely important pipeline of trained workers for technical jobs in the region. And as such, I am excited to announce initial funding of $500,000 in FY 21-22 budget for Durham Tech's Back to Work initiative and the Bulls initiative and Life Science Talent Pipeline. As a number of life science-oriented companies have chosen to locate in Durham County, discussions have soon arose amongst various economic development groups and partners, which includes the county, Durham Tech, and around them about providing the human capital that is necessary to support these companies. As a beginning step, these new programs will help provide or enhance the skills of local residents so that they can get and keep these jobs. More jobs filled by local workers mean more dollars in the local economy, which means a more vibrant economy for all of Durham residents. Under Goal 2 highlights include funding to support Durham County's longtime homeowner grant program for residents at or below 30% of the area median income. The initiative is modeled after the Mecklenburg County Homeowners and Economic Support Homes Program. And as with Mecklenburg County's Homes Program, the program is structured to aid qualified low-income residential homeowners within Durham County to retain their homes by reducing the financial burden resulting from a competitive real estate market. Grant funds awarded through the program will help reduce the amount of property taxes due for qualifying recipients' primary residence. The budget includes $750,000 for grant allocations, with an additional $192,119 for 3 new FTEs in DSS to support the administrative costs. The program details will be finalized in the upcoming weeks upon review and approval by the DSS board. And we anticipate additional grant support through a partnership with the City of Durham and other funding sources. I'm excited to note that the major expansion of an extremely important and effective violence prevention program based on Durham County's Cure Violence model that was implemented in 2016 under the name Bull City United. Bull City United treats violence as a public health concern and employs violence interrupters and outreach workers to mitigate conflict within census tracts before violence occurs. Their work stops retribution and reduces gun violence that often comes from a lack of communications within the community. In April of 2020, the Board of County Commissioners approved an interlocal agreement with the City of Durham, where the city will provide funds to the county to hire 18 new FTEs, including violence interrupters, outreach workers, and supervisors that will expand Bull City United into 4 additional city census tracts. I am recommending 2 additional county-funded FTEs, including a department supervisor for Bull City United and Project Bill, and a data analyst to serve both areas. In addition to the increased number of FTEs in outreach, Bull City United and Project Bill will be moved from the Public Health Department in its own department, and that will also include My Brother's Keeper. These entities will work with Campaign for Change and our workforce development ecosystem to collaborate with many of our hard-to-reach citizens who are in need of basic life skills and, most importantly, gainful employment. Finally, funds were added to the FY 2021 social services budget to support 39 new positions to begin working toward meeting Medicaid compliance levels set by the state. However, in developing that budget, there were limitations to how many new positions the county could add, and this number was only a portion of the full numbers of FTEs needed. To finish supplying social services with the necessary resources to meet and exceed the state's compliance levels, additional support is still needed in this upcoming fiscal year. Therefore, I'm recommending 10 additional positions that will focus on quality assurance work and support the other positions that have been already hired. The Goal 3 budget includes funding to combat the ongoing opioid epidemic with the Phase 2 implementation of the medication-assisted treatment program, including 2 new positions at the detention center. More than 60% of the individuals in our local jail and 58% of the individuals incarcerated in prison report substance abuse issues. This program is the most effective evidence-based approach to address opioid use disorders and prevent fatal overdoses. After a much smaller number of replacement vehicles, which was 20, were provided to the Sheriff's Office in FY 2021 due to the expected financial constraints, I'm happy to recommend funding for the replacement of 39 Sheriff's Office's vehicles for the upcoming fiscal year. It is extremely important that the county continue to replace vital public safety equipment on a set schedule to ensure maximum availability and trusted use of staff, like the Sheriff's Office and the Office of our Emergency Medical Services. Durham County government is committed to providing equitable access to all its services. And that's why this budget is recommended offering parking validation at the Justice Center parking deck to those involved in court cases at the Durham County Courthouse. Currently, courthouse visitors, with the exception of jurors, must pay for parking, which can run as much as $12 a day for court cases that can last a week or longer. This can be a substantial financial burden for low-income people involved in these cases. Funding parking validation for those involved in court cases will reduce the financial burden on residents involved in the criminal justice system. For several years, Durham County has been able to store important public safety vehicles and equipment at no cost to the county in the previously vacant Frauenberg Industrial Facility. That space is no longer available and subsequently is a casualty of our growing local economy. To support storage of this mission-critical equipment, the county is leasing new storage space with an annual cost of $1 million. The facility provides secure indoor storage for equipment and supplies maintained by the Sheriff's Department, our emergency management operations, as well as our emergency medical services. Durham County will continue to maintain its focus and efforts to increase economic growth in the county by adding 2 full-time staff to address the increased workload, develop a business recruitment model, and support reoccurring engagement and programming in workforce development and small business support. The county also continues to maintain its economic development investment program to attract and retain new businesses and industries. It is anticipated that companies and investors will meet their scheduled performance criteria for FY 21-22. And incentive payments for FY 21-22 have increased by $637,400. The county's open space program manages 7 miles of trails and 3 open preserves, with the 4th preserve in the active planning stages, soon to be open to the public. The county-owned open space has grown from 570 acres in 2003 to 1,288 acres in 2021. The land management staff has remained at one full-time position. A recommended new land management and outreach assistant would assist the land manager with support for regular trail maintenance, resolve encroachment issues, and add a safety measure when dealing with dangerous equipment. The Sewer Utility Department, which is an enterprise fund agency that fully supports the operational costs through fees charged to customers, is recommended to add 3 new positions. 1, a utility locator position, which will provide state mandated functions. Another is a project manager to oversee the growing list of utility related capital projects, while the final position is an office assistant. The sewer consumption rates will be increased by 4.76% to address the anticipated reinvestment, as well as costs related to the operations to continue to ensure our high level of operational readiness and environmental protection. The fee increases are listed in the fee schedule. Durham County continues its intentional pursuit to advance racial equity throughout the organization by bringing racial equity training and education to staff and community stakeholders. As the county began this process to create a comprehensive racial equity action plan, it has become abundantly clear additional personnel and resources are needed. I am recommending funding 2 new full-time positions, a racial equity specialist and a community analyst. 2 paid graduate student internships are also included in this budget and support our racial equity efforts. And this work is quite consistent with what was recommended from GARE. Under Goal 5, what I want to share is essentially this. Due to the pandemic, the county has seen substantial increases to its building cleaning and security costs, largely paid to contracted vendors. Thankfully, many county COVID-19 related expenses are eligible for the American Rescue Plan Act reimbursements, including cleaning and security costs. It is expected that these costs will see a reduction in FY 22-23 as the pandemic and related health issues and protection measures recede. Also, as part of the necessary pandemic-related safety protocols for Durham County employees, the county's Human Resource Department will oversee COVID-19 screenings at all county buildings throughout the upcoming year at a cost of little over $500,000. Like general services, pandemic-related costs, these employees' health and safety costs can be offset by the ARPA funds. And our employee health and safety is an absolute top priority. In an effort to bolster the support for the county's information technology infrastructure, the Information Services and Technology Department had a plan to add 4 new FTEs in FY 2021. As a part of the budget development process, and in order to limit the financial burden of 4 new positions, vacant positions in finance, budget, and general service were moved to IS&T. In turn, I am recommending that those taken positions be refunded back into their original departments. Between the March 2020 cyber attack that hit our organization and the ongoing COVID pandemic, Durham County employees have experienced many challenges over the past year, but have more than risen to the occasion. County employees had to adapt, accommodate, and resiliently carry on in the face of unknown threats, all while facing budget cuts, including the elimination of scheduled merit pay increases in FY 2021. While targeted differential pay recognized the health threats experienced by public-facing department employees, It does not begin to address the lost salary dollars from a pay raise that will be felt across the entire career and retirements. To try to remedy that lost pay, I am recommending a 3% cost of living increase for all employees for the upcoming year, along with the reinstatement of the 2 to 3% merit pay increase based on annual employee performance. Durham County owes a debt of gratitude to many of the frontline county employees for their extraordinary work over the past year in the face of a very serious health consequence. All of our employees deserve to have salary increases that at the least keep up with inflation and surrounding county compensation trends. This two-pronged recommendation helps us acknowledge and demonstrate our very real appreciation to those employees. Staff and I look forward to working with you during these budget deliberations. Our budget work sessions will begin on Tuesday, May 18th, where we will provide an overview of the budget and the environment in which it was built. On Monday, May 24th, the board will hold a public hearing on the FY 21-22 budget as part of the regularly scheduled meeting. Additional work sessions will occur on Thursday, May 27th, a half-day session, and Tuesday, June 1st, a full-day session, to begin to review the departmental budgets in earnest. If additional work sessions are needed for June 3rd, we have allotted such time. Our budget adoption is planned for June the 14th. Copies of this recommended budget and this presentation will be made available online at the Durham County website. Citizens can view the entire document as well as find links to interactive recommended budget reports there. The road to recovery for Durham County begins with the acknowledgement that it takes every county resident working toward a greater good in order to find a way back to our pre-pandemic momentum. It is my belief that this recommended budget supports a healthy recovery and movement down that road. There will be vigorous discussions about how much and where to fund many different areas of need. And as such, discussions can only be helpful in developing a consensus in how to move forward and together as a community and a county. With that, I conclude this presentation of the FY 21-22 Manager's Recommended Budget. And management, as well as our staff, we look forward to the upcoming board work session. Madam Chairman, that concludes my comments. I want to thank you for your undivided attention. I think you're muted.
Public hearing and the budget approval dates has.
Madam Chair, you're still muted.
Keeps muted. Somebody keeps muting me. Okay, so as I was saying, thank you, Mr. Manager, for sharing your recommended budget with the board and our citizens. The budget meeting will be published, and the budget dates have been shared and will be published on our county website. Look forward to the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Tonight we will not have discussion about the budget. Tonight is presentation. So we have a couple of more items. 21-0285, 2020 Durham City County Appearance Commission Annual Report. So the board is requested to receive this annual report for the City County Appearance Commission. Are there any comments at this time from the commissioners? Let's have the report.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kayla Seibel. I'm a senior planner with the Durham City County Planning Department. I'm the staff liaison to the Appearance Commission. In your packet, you have the report from the chair detailing the commission's 2020 accomplishments. For just a brief overview, the Appearance Commission has 15 members, 7 are appointed by the City Council, and 8 are appointed by the Board of County Commissioners. The Appearance Commission's mission is to cultivate visual appeal and recognize the benefits of good design, which enhance the quality of life for residents of the city and county of Durham. So the commission has 4 subcommittees that work on various activities. Due to COVID-19, the commission took a break from meetings from March to August and resumed virtual meetings in September and has been meeting monthly ever since. And the planning department has supported the virtual meetings with Zoom for the commission this year. Last year in 2020, the commission had to postpone their annual Golden Leaf Awards due to COVID-19. This is an award ceremony recognizing new developments, architecture, urban design, and landscaping across Durham County. The commission is working on a new date to both celebrate the 2020 awards and plan and prepare for 2021. Members of the commission have been involved in the comprehensive plan, both attending outreach team meetings and reviewing the draft goals and objectives this past year. So that is just a brief overview of the report. I'm available to answer any questions or pass along any feedback you have for the Appearance Commission. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This item does not require approval, but I want to thank the staff for sharing this report and all the volunteers that participate on this. Are there any questions or concerns from our commissioners? Not seeing any, I just want to say thank you.
I have one for Commissioner.
Okay. I'm not seeing you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No,
Burns, go ahead.
It's really quick. How you doing? How you doing? I'm Kayla. Great to see you. I just and you can follow back up with me later if it would take too long tonight. I noticed on there that one of the things that is required is at least 50% participation, or attendance. And I did notice that even outside of the 6 months that were canceled, we had, I can't speak for the city side, but we did have some people that only attended 20 to 30% of the meetings. And while those were, the majority of those were excused absences, I'm trying to figure out what threshold are we gonna allow that to go on? How long we're gonna allow that to go on? Because whether it's excused or not, only making 20% of the meetings is a question I have. And what steps are you all taking to mitigate some of that? And at what point will you all come back to us to perhaps ask us to put the application out for new members?
Sure, I can start by that. So the city clerk's office has given us guidance because this is a joint city county board. So we have guidance to have them be excused absences, and that's continuing. If the county clerk's office has a similar or different guidance for how to deal with county seats, just let me know and we can figure out what to do with those seats.
Okay, we only have 2 that are in the 20% range, but we're here every week. We want folks to be there sometimes too. So especially if the guidance is 50%. Thank you. I'll follow back up with you later.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, thank you so much, Kayla. And we'll move on to the next report. It's 210286, Durham Open Space and Trails Commission Annual Report. So this is information only, commissioners. We'll have this report.
Great, thank you. My name is Carl Klosna, and I'm a senior planner with the Durham City County Planning Department. As the staff liaison to the Durham Open Space and Trails Commission, I'm happy to present the DOS 2020 annual report as required by the interlocal agreement. I apologize that the DOS chair, Kamala Hayward-Rotimi, had a conflict with our meeting tonight, but I have the materials that she shared at the JCCPC meeting a couple of months ago, and I'm borrowing heavily from them I'd like to give a brief overview of the report and the major accomplishments of DOST during 2020, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So 2020 was a challenging year, but after the onset of the pandemic in March, DOST was able to reestablish itself in a virtual format within a couple of months. Starting in June of 2020, DOST was able to consistently meet via Zoom, and a few months after that, its various committees had also established virtual meeting procedures as well. The pandemic provided an opportunity for DOST to concentrate on the Commission's internal structures and to update or re-review procedures that have been in place for a while. During 2020, DOST begun reviewing its Development Review Committee, which is a committee designed to review and respond to proposed developments like site plans and zoning map changes for open space and trail considerations. DOST also established a committee to begin updating the DOST bylaws. The current DOST bylaws were last updated in 2012 and could certainly use an update to more formally establish some of the virtual meeting procedures, among other updates and modernizations. DOST also collaborated with the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee and the Environmental Affairs Board, two advisory bodies that have a lot of overlapping mission and interests with DOST. And in addition, I know always a popular item, the DOST Matching Grants Program entered its 30th year this year and included 4 projects totaling slightly over $77,000 in funds. And also, I think very excitingly, in line with a focus on increasing the equitable accessibility of these matching grants funds, a matching grants mini grant program was implemented and utilized for the first time this year. And finally, on behalf of the DOST chair and its members, I'd like to extend appreciation and thanks to each of you for your collaboration and support with DOST to locate and design trails and open space in an equitable manner that respects all people in Durham. So that concludes my short recap of the DOST 2020 annual report. I'm happy to answer any questions or refer them on to anyone else. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl, for your report. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Well, thank you for your presentation, and we appreciate the
Excuse
work.
me, Commissioner Howerton, I'm sorry, I have my hand raised.
Okay. So I think what's happening is sometimes I don't get all of you on the top screen here. So go ahead. If I don't see your hand, just let me know.
Okay, thank you. I just want to, first of all, I thank you, Carl, and for the report and to the really excellent report, detailed report and work that that our members of the Durham Open Space and Trails Commission does incredible work. We had the opportunity to hear from the chair at our joint city county planning committee meeting. And I just want to raise an issue that I asked about at that meeting, which was that great about the new smaller grants, which makes things more equitable. But this year, there was $190,000 worth of requests. And so out of that, the budget is $77,175. So obviously there's tremendous interest and need. And I asked during the meeting, when was the last time that the county had increased the budget for the Durham Open Space and Trails matching grants? And I actually found out that the budget used to be $100,000 for the Durham Open Space and Trails grants. And it was actually reduced, I believe, in the 2008 recession when there were budget cuts made, that the DOST grants were reduced at that time. So I just want to share that I hope our board in this coming budget will look at actually returning the amount back to the 100,000 when we have that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or questions, commissioners? Thank you, Carl, so much for your report. And for no other questions from commissioners, we'll move on. Next, we have a public hearing. Commissioners, we have 2 public hearings before us this evening. 21-0288. It's Palmer Way renaming. The board is requested to conduct a public hearing and consider 2 motions. We have Cole Ridner, planner.
Sorry. Yes. Good evening, County Commissioners.
Okay,
I'm Cole Ridner, representing the Planning Department.
okay.
I want to state for the record that all Planning Department public hearing items tonight have been properly noticed and advertised per state and local law, and affidavits to the effect are on file with the Planning Department.
Okay, and do we also have Sarah Young, Planning Director, on the line as well?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm here. I'm going to let Cole take the lead presenting tonight. This is his first night before you, maybe his first night presenting this type of case. So bear with him. I know he's going to do a great job.
Thank you.
The applicant R-NC Regional 19 wishes to change the street name, currently Palmer Way, to Alexandria Way. The subject street runs parallel to Moore Drive, runs between TW Alexander Drive and Ellis Road. The parcels adjacent to the street are all owned by the applicant. All internal and external agencies have reviewed the street naming and they have no objections. And staff will be available for questions as the board has them.
Okay, thank you, Cole. Commissioners, are there any additional questions for staff before we open the public hearing? Okay, seeing none, I will now open the public hearing and have the county clerk acknowledge any callers on the line for any comments.
Chair Howerton, County Commissioners, we did not have anyone sign up to speak for this item.
Okay, so thank you. So due to the virtual meetings, the new rule requires that all public hearings to remain open for 24 hours to allow time for additional public comments. The public hearing will close tomorrow, May the 11th, at the conclusion of this meeting. This item will be moved to the May 24th regular session meeting. At that time, comments received will be shared and a vote will be considered. So the next public hearing is 210289, and that's a Unified Development Ordinance Text Amendment on bus charge changes 16 TC 21000001. So the board is requested to conduct a public hearing and receive public comments on the Unified Development Ordinance Text Amendment changes 16, the number I quoted, and consider two motions. And we have Michael Stock, Senior Planner, and Sarah Young, Planning Director, on the line to present this item.
Thank you very much, Chair Howerton, Board of Commissioners. I will keep my video off in order to maintain contact with all of you. My bandwidth tends to go away when I do video, so I apologize for that. Before you tonight is Text Amendment TC 2101. That it proposes technical revisions and minor policy changes to various provisions of the Unified Development Ordinance, or UDO. The amendments are identified as necessary corrections, clarifications, reorganization, or other minor changes to clarify the intent of the regulations or codify interpretations, or to reflect minor policy changes that are not solely technical in nature. The complete discussion changes is found in your agenda report. The Planning Commission recommended approval with a vote of 11-1 on March 9th. There were changes subsequent to the Planning Commission meeting, which include the following, most of which were issues that were discussed with the Planning Commission. Neighborhood meeting and pre-submittal requirements were changed back to maintain a requirement of at least one meeting, although more meetings can be performed if requested. Revisions to deviations of development plans were removed, but will be included in a forthcoming set of amendments focused on applications and permits, primarily in Article 3. Additional text to paragraph 941G along rights of way is removed and is anticipated to be included in the next set of omnibus changes. And co-living parking requirements were revised to be consistent with parking for a dwelling unit, and also remove the term co-housing that was associated with it. Council did approve the amendments at its May 3rd meeting. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Michael. Are there any questions or additional comments from commissioners before I open the public hearing? Commissioner Carter.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. I wanted to know from you all, and I guess mainly, if there was any discussion among the city council members about either the building height increase from 50 to 55 feet in the general commercial zone, especially as that relates to the Welltown neighborhood residents and potential concern that they might have with that change. That's my first question.
Was waiting for Mike to chime back in, but I'll take it. The city council did talk about that. They had some questions, and we explained that a couple of things are going on here, and I'll let Mike correct me if I misspeak on anything, but we're trying to be consistent with other provisions of the ordinance. So a 5-foot differential is not very much. There was a lot of concern about Northgate and Walltown, but Northgate is not zoned general commercial. They're zoned predominantly commercial center, and height there above, I forget what the minimum height is, but any height up to a certain amount has to be shown on a development plan that does not exist for the Northgate site. So this should not be an issue that would play out at Northgate if that's the concern, because it's a different zoning district. But I'm sure Mike can say it a lot more eloquently than I did, because he lives and breathes it every day.
Thank you, Sarah. And I apologize. I was on mute and I was trying to answer while I was on mute. What Sarah said is exactly right. The mall is zone CC, so the changes do not affect Northgate Mall. There is a portion also of Northgate, the shops at Northgate, where that little shopping center just up on Guest Road, that I guess is also kind of part of the overall site, but that's zone CG with the development plan. And we looked at the development plan, and the height limitation there is actually 24 feet. So they would need to rezone to even take advantage of even the current height allowance, whether it was changed or not. So that was explained to council, and they were just fine with that.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that explanation.
Sure.
And then the only other question I have is, I don't know, I wasn't thrilled about seeing the driveway size, be expanded from, was it 25 to 30 feet? It's just more impermeable surface, seems negative. What are the positive reasons for doing it that, outweigh the drawback to more impermeable surface?
The biggest reason for the change was to address, so let me, I guess, maybe back up for a second. Until recently, the ordinance allowed for any width of driveway. There was really no limitation, and we changed it to 25 feet maybe a year or so ago. What came to us from the Development Services Center and Development Review is that it was creating a lot of nonconformities, and then also folks who were kind of where there was, yes, and I know this is kind of a limited circumstance, but with 3-car garages, but also other circumstances where driveways kind of do wrap around a house for additional parking or patio area and such. So we thought that we felt that increasing it by 5 foot addressed a lot of nonconformity concerns, and then also current requests. It does not do away with recent limitations that were implemented, especially with expanding housing choices and infill development that limit driveway width much less than 25 feet, actually a lot of times. Also with small lot option where specific types of driveways are required, especially kind of like ribbon driveways, if you're familiar with those. So it doesn't impact that at all. It just does that modest increase of 5 feet. And impervious surface, you're right, it is an increase in impervious surface. And where there are watershed regulations, where impervious surface regulations do come into play, that will have to be dealt with. So it's not necessarily even just a free pass with that extra 5 feet of width.
That's a great answer. Thank you very much for that explanation.
Thank you.
Other questions from commissioners? Commissioner Jacobs?
Thank you. So, obviously, we had extensive comments from planning commissioners, which I do always rely on and really appreciate that they are the ones who really look at this, all of this in a very detailed way. And I know there were very detailed comments from one commissioner in particular, and I think that you have addressed some of those issues, Michael. Could you, though, highlight some of the ones that have not been changed, maybe, and why those maybe some of the most salient?
I may ask that you ask particularly which ones you're talking about, because it was a pretty lengthy write-up.
Right. Well, you know what? I'll follow up with you offline about that.
That'll be fine. But
okay.
You are correct. We did address almost a predominant number of concerns that Commissioner Miller did bring up. And additionally, if I might want to point out, Commissioner Cease brought up concerns about the parking rates for co-living, and we did address that by reducing the minimum parking requirement in line with standard dwelling units. So we did also address that concern.
Right. Yeah, and I really appreciated the changing the language to co-living.
Yeah, it was already in there, but we had also included co-housing, and we were correctly corrected that was not the correct term for use of that word for the third time. It's late to use that, so we removed that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from commissioners? Well, thank you both Sarah and Mike for this report. And so, and that was a lengthy list of items, and we're always grateful for our volunteers that work on. This is one board that requires an awful lot of time of citizens that serve. So we thank you. Commissioners, if there are no other questions, I will now open the public hearing and have the county clerk acknowledge any callers on the line and read any comments received.
Commissioners, we did not have any comments for this item as well.
Thank you, Monica. So due to virtual meetings, the new rule requires all public hearings to remain open for 24 hours to allow time for additional public comment. The public hearing will close tomorrow, May 11th, at the conclusion of this meeting. This item will be moved to May 24th, regular session meeting. At that time, comments received will be shared and a vote will be considered. There were no items pulled. If there are no other comments from commissioners at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Burns, we need a second.
Second.
Commissioner Jacobs. It's been moved and properly second. We'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Alam.
Aye.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs.
Aye.
And Chair Howerton.
Aye. 5-0, we are adjourned. Thank you, commissioners.